Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you had a good lunch and welcome back to the post-lunch session of the fourth day of First World Parliament on Spirituality. Time flies and here we are on the 15th session of the World Parliament, Understanding of Spiritual Experiences for Personal Evolution. To speak on this theme, we have four great speakers. May I invite on stage Jagadguru Amrita Suryananda. Welcome onto the dais, sir. May I invite Swami Shanmuga Shakti, founder of Ekatvam, onto the dais. Pleasure to invite Dr. Lise, Janelle, founder of Center for Heart Living from Canada, onto the dais. Please, ma'am.
Asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya.
Last speaker, Akaka Tamaris, citizen of Damanhur, president of Gen Europe. She would come along with Famika to help her. May I call both of them onto the dais? I request Dr. Lise Janelle, founder of Center for Heart Living from Canada, to talk to us on inner freedom, a no-nonsense approach to spirituality. Welcome, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Inner freedom as a path to spirituality. What is spirituality? It's connection to spirit, connection to the soul. And I believe that our core being, who we are, is that. We are spirit. We are the connection to the soul. And we only have problems connecting there when we have beliefs that are decreasing the connection inside. And these beliefs are connected to fear. There are two big fears we have as human beings. The first one is we are unworthy of love. The second fear that we have is that we will not be able to get what we would love. And those two fears create beliefs. Just before I came here in Canada, right now it's Christmas time. And I had a client of mine telling me that for her, Christmas had been really fun until she was 9 years old. And in Canada, Christmas is really connected to Santa Claus. If you're a good little girl, good things happen to you, you have lots of presents. And if you're a bad little girl, then you won't get presents. And so Christmas was something she really had fun having until she was 9 years old, when her grandfather was about to pass away, and he was her favorite grandfather. He was one that spoiled her, made her feel special. And her parents announced to her that once Grandpa would die, they were not going to celebrate Christmas anymore because they wanted to change religion. And this was a huge trauma for my client. She remembered going back to school after the holidays and the little kids asking her, "So what did you get?" And she would say nothing. And then she would see the face of her friends and they were like, whoa. And she started to feel that she was ashamed of herself, actually. She increased her self-esteem, feeling that something was wrong with her, for her not to be able to celebrate Christmas anymore. What's interesting is if she had been born here in India, she would have not had this belief. So beliefs are created from the wrong thinking. What's important to really know is that we don't manifest what we want in life. We manifest what we believe. We are co-creators, and when we have the ability to connect with the source, with our inner core, we can manifest a life that's really fulfilling. But when we have beliefs that are taking us into tangents, it's hard to connect and know what to do next. I don't know if you know this, but right now, as I'm speaking with you and you're connecting with me, we are exchanging about 40 bits of information per second. And subconsciously, about 11 million. So there's a whole world living inside of you. And what happens is these beliefs that you have created can actually hold you back. And I wish I could show you the technique. You've heard of conditioned reflex, you've heard of Pavlovian reflexes. There are methods that you can use to help you remove these beliefs. I have created one, it's called the Inner Freedom Method, and I would love to share it with you, but I don't have time. I don't have the time to present it to you today. But I want to give you 3 clues that you have your subconscious mind working against you that's going to prevent you from creating the love, the life and the love that you would like to have in your life. One clue is that you know what you want to do, but you're not doing it, the famous procrastination. The second one is, you know what needs to be done, you're doing it, but it feels like a huge struggle. The third clue that you have an inner conflict is that you know what needs to be done, you're doing it, but you're getting the opposite results. Why? Because our subconscious mind is there to protect us. And if your limbic system has associated more pain than pleasure to something that you would like to have consciously, you won't be able to have it. For example, if while you were growing up and you saw your parents fighting, or maybe the way they felt painful, you might have associated in the back of your mind that love is dangerous. And that's not true. Love is not dangerous, it's the safest thing that you can have. But because we have emotions, they take us on tangents and we end up thinking that we are being guided by our heart, but in fact it's just a reaction to the past which prevents us from being connected to our higher self. As human beings, we live our life through 3 main modes. We live our life through our mind, through our emotions, and through our heart. We have access to heaven every time we're in our heart. You do not have to die to go to heaven. You just need to have gratitude. Gratitude makes you feel loved. Gratitude makes you feel safe. Gratitude makes you connected and feeling one with everybody. But we have emotions. For me, love is not an emotion. Love is our state of being. It is who we are inside. It is our essence. But we experience emotions when we see more pain than pleasure, or more pleasure than pain in a situation. If you see more pleasure, experience elation, infatuation, a big high. And when you see more pain than pleasure in a situation, you will feel depression and you feel a big low. And when we were watching our parents going through the evolutionary process, they were actually learning about love. What we have associated with love is actually just emotions. As human beings, we can also live our life through our mind. And a mind can be a beautiful thing. It's revered. If you're smart, you can have access to a high degree of education and careers, and you'll be respected. But it's also sometimes a white ivory tower where it's dangerous to be standing there, because I've had patients, clients that were really successful people, but very connected to their mind without the connection to their heart. And when something happened that's emotional, they're not equipped to deal with it and they crash. So it is very important to be connected in the heart. It is the protection that we can use to navigate through life and experience heaven on earth. In 1988, I faced a huge challenge. My sister was getting married, and 3 weeks before the wedding, my father was diagnosed with terminal cancer. 3 weeks later, my 21-year-old brother died in a car accident, and my 8-year relationship ended. So all of this within a month of each other. And it was one of the most painful experiences of my life. But because of that pain, I had to stop, and I had to go within myself. That moment was actually the blessing that came in my life, because before that I had a pretty successful life. I was a competitive rower, Canadian champion. I had a great chiropractic clientele, and I had a great relationship, and everything in my life seems to be going well, but I was not feeling fulfilled. And when this happened, I had to stop, and I had to go within myself and ask myself, what's the meaning of life? If you do not know when you're going to die, how do you want to live life so that you have no regrets when your time comes? So who am I? Where I come from? Where am I going? All these fundamental questions. And what I discovered a few months later, by coincidence, I was guided into this seminar. And in that seminar, I got the deepest connection, the deepest spiritual experience of my life. And it was not with any complicated technology. I didn't have to do anything extraordinary except sit and explore my life. And all the things that had been painful, I took the time for 5 hours to look at what had been painful and find the blessing that came. Pain, blessing, pain, blessing, pain, blessing. And at one moment within myself, everything disappeared. And I got this amazing experience at the most profound place within my being, that everything that ever happened to me, everything that ever happened to us, everything that will ever happen is actually specifically designed just for us. That our soul journey, where we're going to have always support and challenge. And that support and challenge is meant to help us evolve. It's there to help us bring the best out of ourselves if we choose to look at it that way. And that's why I like the yin and the yang. I like it because it's a beautiful symbol. The ancient knew what they were doing when they created this symbol. One day I was teaching and I was creating a wavelength. And then I made a circle around a full wavelength. And I realized that the ancient knew what they were doing when they created this symbol. We know that everything in the universe ultimately is electromagnetic energy, is light. And if you put the symbol of infinity, the circle around it, you have what life is going to be for us. To be able to, as spiritual beings that come into matter, we need duality. We wouldn't be able to be anchored here without duality. So we might as well learn to play the game of using duality to our advantage. That's what's beautiful about these symbols. They even put the dark dot in the light side and the light dot in the dark side to show us that they're interconnected. The more we try to run away from one, the more we create. The more you try to search for pleasure, the more you create pain in your life. Your life is going to be, from the beginning to the end, as much pleasure as it is pain. When I had this experience, when I ended up being able to use the pain, like this pain of my life, this pain where I was shaken to the core, and I was able to stop and use it to my advantage, change the course of my life. I am here standing in front of you today because at that moment when I got this experience within my heart through gratitude, at that moment I decided, this is amazing. A few hours ago, I felt I had a broken heart, and now I feel such gratitude and such connection with God, with the universe, feeling one. That I decided in 1989 that I was going to help heal the hearts of millions of people. And here I am in front of you today with, it's on my path. It's part of the message I've been wanting to give for so many years. And I'm not special. I'm telling you this story because the source of human suffering is the search for pleasure without challenges. The source of human suffering is the search for pleasure without challenges. What we need to be able to do is, can you put the next slide? This is the logo from my Center for Heart Living in Toronto, and I love the logo. It has the heart and it has the yin and the yang inside, and I love it for what it represents. I have people that come to see me because they want to be living successful lives. I've even worked with famous Hollywood actors, big names, people who have huge fans and millions of dollars and private jets, but they still, even though you may have everything on the outside, even though you may think that what the world wants you to get, you can still feel empty unless you have the connection to the heart. And the connection to the heart comes with gratitude. It's the key ingredient. And why it's so important is because every time that you are grateful, at that moment, you feel loved. And when you feel loved, you increase your self-worth. And when you increase your self-worth, everything becomes possible. When you know you're worthy of love, you are connected with the essence of who you really are. And then life that's in line with this is what true success is. So to have inner freedom, what we need to do is we need to know that we are worthy of love. And you need to be like a dog after a bone. You need to do whatever it takes. Every time you hear the little voice telling you, oh, not you, or that's stupid, or you're stupid, or you can't have these things, you need to stop, and you need to make sure that you look at why you're saying this. And you need to find, in whatever thing that you're facing that's a challenge, you need to find, how is this helping me? You need to take the time to go back in the traumatic events of your life and find out which blessing came out of it. I'm going to tell you a story. It's a corny story, but it's the perfect little corny story. It's the story of the scientist that observes a butterfly coming out of a cocoon. It's a huge struggle. And the scientist feels sorry for the butterflies and decides, instead of watching the poor butterfly struggle, what I'm going to do is cut the cocoon open. But because he does that, the butterfly has nothing to push against, and its wings are too weak, and it can never fly. And each one of us, at the time, we can go and look at these moments that we thought were unfair, that were painful, that maybe we wish never happened, but since they have happened, the best way to increasing our worth is to take the time to get the blessings that came from it. Some of these stories you will know consciously, and some of these stories you will not know. They are part of your subconscious mind. And if I had time right now, I could actually take a whole bunch of people on stage and muscle test you and show to you that probably 99% of the population has a belief that they're not worthy of love. And that is my message. This is why I take the time to do this, because I work one-on-one with so many people, and I created a method called the Inner Freedom Method to help people find and dissolve this point in time where they got the illusion that they were unworthy. And the reason we are so sensitive to this is because as spiritual beings, we come into matter, and right from the beginning, love has to come from the outside. And because love can never come the way we want it, when we want it all the time, we end up just like the story about Santa Claus. We end up thinking that we are unworthy of love, which disconnects us from spirit, which disconnects us from the soul, which prevents us from living an amazing life. And then we start looking around. Just the other day I was in a breakout session, and I heard this woman say, you know, I grew up with parents that really loved me, but still sometimes I feel empty inside. I feel something is missing. And I guarantee you that that moment where you feel something is missing, when you feel a void inside of you, it's one illusion that got stored inside of you that's preventing you from knowing that you're worthy of love. The next thing we need to do is listen to our essence, to our dreams and aspirations. Within each one of us, there is a perfect design. There's a perfect mission that you have, and that mission comes from the struggles you've experienced in life. As human beings, we can have two stages of life. Not everybody gets to the second stage. I heard people speak about awakening this morning. But for me, the awakening process, the conscious process, is when we leave the unconscious phase of life where we're reacting because we didn't get love from the outside the way we wanted to have it. We little reactionary beings. We run away from pain towards pleasure. We use our ego to either be like our parents or prove them wrong. And then we have these conditioned responses that just are guiding us all around the place until a moment in our life where something often painful happens. Like the story I told you about what happened with me. Or sometimes it's pleasure. We get to meet someone, a guru, someone like this, that inspires us. The danger with finding gurus, you have to be really careful. So a guru is being authentic to their mission, to their purpose, and trying to copy someone because they have fulfillment, because they're doing their work, is dangerous, because you can start doing somebody else's dreams and aspirations. So it is good to have teachers, it is good to listen to what they give us, but ultimately it has to come from within our own heart. So we're not guided on a path that's away from our own heart, our own soul. And you know that something is in line with your heart and soul when you feel grateful, when you're not doing things because you should be doing them. You do them because you love doing them. So the inner freedom is the ability to know that you're worthy of love, listening to your essence, using your talents to bring them into the world, taking action steps so that you can feel fulfilled in your life. If you do this, I guarantee you there will be no emptiness. And I'd like to give you a trick that I give to my clients that really works. If you use this trick for the rest of your life, you're really going to transform your life. And the trick is the following. In whatever situation you face, say to yourself, since I am worthy of love, why is this happening? Since I am worthy of love, why is this happening? Let's say you're with a friend and the friend says to you, you're mean or you're not doing it right. You can start with, since I'm worthy of love, is that true? Maybe they're right. Maybe I need to learn from what my friend is telling me right now. Or maybe, since I'm worthy of love, I think it's just my friend is cranky. I think it's just that my friend is cranky right now. Maybe they had a bad day and they're putting it on me. Or if you're facing a challenge, you ask yourself, how is this challenge is helping me since I am worthy of love? Since I'm worthy of love, I'm not going to get stuck in the pleasure. I'm going to use the pleasure and the challenges to my advantage to bring the best out of myself. And to end my talk, I want to leave you with a little story. Once I was in my home and I had these beautiful little white flowers. I didn't even know the name of these flowers, and I leaned over and the perfume was exquisite. The essence of this flower was like, wow. It was like the perfect sunset, the perfect music, the perfect dance. It was like a moment in time, and I thought, I don't even know the name of this little flower. And everywhere around the world, people know the name of a rose. But if this little flower didn't have the pride to bring out of itself this essence, this perfume, I would never have had this moment. And each one of us here, each one of us has a mission, has something that if you actually pay attention to your essence, you'll be able to use your talents. You're going to be able to use the interest that often came from the pain that was given to you. That's actually how you heal yourself. You take the time to look at all the things that came out, the talents, the inspirations, the expertise in your life, then you realize that this has a purpose. And through using all of this, you then serve the world the best that you can do. And when you do this, you experience gratitude. And when we have gratitude, we feel loved. When we feel love, we're in our heart. When we feel in our heart, we feel at one. And this is how we can change the world. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lise.